Every decision you make today is built on a cognitive ability that is, in evolutionary terms, brand new. Chimpanzees, our closest relatives, can't plan more than about 15 minutes ahead. They eat whatever's right in front of them. They react to what's happening right now. They've got no concept of next week, next winter, or next year. And for a really long time, neither did our ancestors. The human brain's ability to mentally jump forward in time, to picture a future that doesn't exist yet and act on it today, is one of the most recent and most radical upgrades in the entire history of life on Earth. And we barely have a clue when it happened. Back in 1997, psychologist Endel Tulving introduced a term that most of his colleagues thought was just too out there to take seriously. He called it chronesthesia, the ability to mentally put yourself in a time that isn't right now, to shut your eyes and walk through a memory from 10 years back, or step inside a Tuesday 3 weeks from now and feel it like it's already happening. Tulving argued it was the one ability that made everything else possible. Language, planning, farming, civilization, all of it. Now, a crow will stash food for winter. A squirrel buries nuts. Looks like planning, right? But researchers found something important. Those animals aren't actually imagining winter. The behavior is hardwired, not thought out. When you take away the instinct and ask the animal to plan for something totally new, something it's never run into before, it just can't do it. But your brain can. The earliest signs that our ancestors were doing something mentally different don't come from writing or language. They come from objects that had absolutely no reason to exist. In 1997, archaeologist Francesco De Rico studied tools found in Blombos Cave in South Africa, dating back roughly 75,000 years. Making them took multiple steps: gather the raw material, haul it somewhere, shape it, treat it, store it, come back to it later. They were working towards something they could only see in their heads. Around that same time, archaeologists turned up 100,000-year-old ochre processing kits, pigment ground into powder, mixed with fat and charcoal, stored in abalone shells with lids. Whoever made those things understood later as a concept. They understood that a version of themselves would exist tomorrow who might need this. That's not survival instinct, that is tomorrow. But here's where it gets strange. These discoveries are isolated. They show up in the record, and then they vanish for tens of thousands of years. Researchers call this the problem of behavioral modernity. Why did it take so long for future thinking to really stick? Why did it keep flickering on and off before it became permanent? The answer might come down to population. Anthropologist Adam Powell at University College London ran models back in 2009 showing that cognitive breakthroughs don't just need smart individuals. They need enough people living close enough together to actually pass the skill on. One person who understands tomorrow can't change a species. When populations were small and spread out, even genuinely new cognitive abilities could just disappear. One rough winter, one disease outbreak, and the idea died right along with the people who had it. Future thinking kept getting discovered, lost, and rediscovered, until there were finally enough humans around that the idea could actually stick. Around 50,000 years ago, something shifted for good. Humans started moving out of Africa in bigger numbers. Populations grew, groups started running into each other more, and the archaeological record completely changes. Burial sites with objects placed next to the dead, not for the living, for someone who would need them in a place that didn't exist yet. Food stored not because there was nowhere else to put it, but because someone had figured out that a hungrier day was coming. At a site in the Czech Republic going back 26,000 years, archaeologists found woven textiles, hundreds of individual steps carried out over hours, making something that wouldn't be finished for days. Someone started a project knowing full well they weren't going to finish it today. That's tomorrow. That's next week. That's a future self treated as real enough to actually work for. Agriculture is future thinking made physical. You don't plant seeds because you're hungry right now. You plant them because you get that 4 months from now, a version of you is going to need food. You're responsible for that version of yourself today. Every single farmer who's ever lived has done the same mental thing. Stood in an empty field, pictured it full, and started digging. Writing came next. When the volume of future plans got too big for memory alone to carry,